Hey Rebels, I'm Rocky.
And this is Regina, and you're listening to the Artist Rebellion podcast.
Whether you're an established artist looking for that extra push or a budding creative eager to make your mark, we have room for you here. Visibility.
We are talking visibility.
Yes.
Yay. Showing up naked. That's what it feels like, to be honest.
It does. It does in terms of you feel vulnerable. You feel sometimes it can feel raw. It feels sometimes like
you're standing naked in front of a crowd.
You're completely exposed. And
I go naked, she goes exposed.
The thing is that I know with a lot of my artist friends, my writer friends, when they think about getting visible, they get anxious.
Do they panic?
They panic.
They panic.
They feel like, well, who am I to like show my face? Who am I to like put my book out there? Who am I to like people will be annoyed?
What do
with
I
me.
even say?
What do I even say? Like there's so much wrapped up in visibility. But if you want to sell your books, if you want to sell your art, if you want to sell your services, if you want to sell
your business,
if you want, even if it's not something that you're immediately selling,
right?
If you just want to either be a known entity or if you want your mission to be known, you have to be visible.
Yeah. You have to show up.
You have to show up.
And I mean, to be honest, visibility it's wide. It's a wide range thing. It doesn't mean that you have to show your face. You could be one of those entities where you never show your face, right? And it's just visibility.
Showing your hands.
Yep. Showing your hands, the thing is like, whatever it is in your business, in your artist journey that you're doing or that you want exposure on, you have to show it. You have to show it.
You have to show.
And that visibility is what's going to be a key game changer in your business because
and I'm just going to pause really quickly because when we say business, we really want it to be understood because I think a lot of artists do not associate themselves as a business owner or as a business. But if
you're monetizing in any capacity,
if you are monetizing, if you are selling or wanting to sell your art, your work in any way, you have to accept that you are a creative entrepreneur.
Right.
Sometimes you're
AKA a business.
AKA a business. So I wanted to like put that frame there.
One person gives you money.
Yeah.
You take the money. That's a business.
And it's the business of art.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have a publisher behind you, but you're still a part of that business because it is very rare, especially nowadays, that all you do is write.
Oh, no.
A lot of times nowadays, it's, that's another thing is when we're thinking about who we are in the world as artists, we have to acknowledge that there are certain things nowadays that are often required. And that is visibility. That is a big part of it.
But one of the many things on the list. One of the many things on the list.
And it's okay to feel nervous or anxious or worried because a lot of people start there. A lot of people get nervous even about putting a post about their book. I've had friends who have talked about how they don't want to post too much because they don't want to feel like they're inundating people with their book cover. No, bitch, I want to see your book cover.
So
I want to see your art.
Well, did you know that it takes, forgive me, I don't know the exact statistic, but it takes like 17 times to actually, because I'm in branding and that's what I studied in college was branding. It takes someone like 17 times to actually you have to have that exposure.
Register.
So you have to remember that you think that you're bothering people, but in reality, it takes multiple times for someone to register your visibility as something that they might be interested in, or even having like in passing, and maybe did I see that before?
Right.
I don't know, but or it's like you need the constant push of the visibility to show up. And then eventually someone will be like, oh, I recognize that. Oh, I recognize that. Oh, that cover I
want
saw.
that.
or yep, or I want that, or I've seen this girl before, or I've seen this art before. And so you may think that you're being annoying, but you're not. You're actually just playing the game of branding, of visibility, of pushing your art and whatever that is that you're doing to your potential clientele or friends or
Readers,
peers or whatever.
Yes.
Yep. Potential buyers, essentially. And we have to remember that it takes repetition in the eyes of exposure or visibility to be recognized.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The thing is that you may post something one time and feel like I made the post, but I was not online
Right.
until X time, and I did not see your gorgeous post.
Right.
So I
Didn't we
need to
just
see
have
it
this
again.
conversation? We just had this conversation.
So Regina has a host of gorgeous services and a whole new platform getting built right now for creatives. And I know it because I'm her friend.
Right.
But I was telling her that as a consumer of your content, I don't know it because you've only mentioned it once.
Right.
And that was like a couple of weeks ago. As your consumer, I want to get excited about the thing you're creating.
So you have to continuously be posting about said art, said process, said workshop, said whatever that thing is. You have to be repetitively talking about it.
And you know what? This is where I think that diving into what that looks like is going to be really helpful, because we're not asking you to say you have like this picture and you post it. We're not saying, all right, for the next 3 weeks, post it every day and say on sale now.
Right.
That's not what we're saying.
No.
What we're saying is that you as an artist have value.
Right.
And you are also a whole, complete, messy, glorious human.
Right.
And you get to decide how much of yourself you put in front of a camera or you put in a post, like all that. You get to decide that. But we do want to see some of it. And so when you're posting, what we want to see, here's some ideas for posts for visibility. Let's just like dive into some of that.
Okay.
Because when I got started, of course, like the easy, natural thing is like, here's the product, here's the book, here's the painting, here's the service. And
here's the
buy
thing.
it. Here's the thing. Buy it.
Buy my thing.
Buy my thing. It's a great thing. Trust me.
It's a great.
It's awesome.
I worked hard on the thing.
I worked hard on the thing. Buy it, buy it, buy it. Right? Like that is, of course, a post you can make.
Of course.
But when you're thinking about visibility and you're thinking about creating connection, when I look at social media, what I'm really thinking of is that it's a love letter to my readers and to my colleagues. And so whenever I show up, I want to share what I'm up to. I want to share my mission. I want to share the behind the scenes. I want to share my struggles. I want to share who I'm excited for and what I'm excited about, because I'm a whole human and I create art not in a vacuum. Right. You know, sometimes I think we can think that people don't care about our stories. People don't care about the behind the scenes, but a lot of times it's the behind the scenes stuff. It's the real stuff that makes us feel connected to a creator.
Yeah.
And sharing what your art is, you know, who you are, what your art is, that's a post, right? That's the thing.
Who you are, what's your process? How do you get ideas? Where do ideas come from? Do they come in the shower? Do they come when they're driving? Are you interrupted in sleep, before sleep, in meditation? Whatever those processes are, share them.
What's your writing routine, or what's your art routine, or where do you make your art, or what makes you feel like you can or can't make your goal, or what, because those are real things, right?
Well,
Every artist.
it's part of the connection. Connection creates visibility, even
Right.
though you don't know that it's actually, you may not think that it's an important part of it, right? But we are on social media to be social, and that's through connection, to create connection. And through connection, we create visibility. Visibility then leads to potential sales, building your empire, building your platform,
Building your
email
mission,
list, your mission,
community.
yep, community,
all
and
of
those
those
things
things.
are visibility is and connection is such a huge integral part of building a business
Mhm.
out of yourself. And so I think being real as possible through your social media visibility. And that doesn't even need to be social. That could be through an email list or,
Right.
right. It's about connecting that creates the visibility. So take like, I mean, like going through the posts of like, this is my process. This
Mhm.
is where I write. I mean, I personally will change my office like 4 times because I can't sit in the same place every
Right.
day. And so I could share that. Be
Right.
like, I can't create from the same place every day.
All those nuances,
Yeah.
those are interesting human bits of ourselves.
Yeah.
And like Regina said, like say you're not ready to be on camera,
Right.
but you have your voice.
Yeah.
You have this
You have,
your
you have
space.
hands.
You
Or
have
if you
your
don't hands, you have
hands.
toes.
Yeah. I mean,
However you're creating.
right. You can look at your life and say, what do I have to share? And not diminish it. I think that's another part is people think, oh, well, this thing about myself isn't interesting. It's like, who says?
Who says
Who
it's not?
says it's not
I actually
interesting?
find it
I
fascinating.
love
I love
seeing
seeing people.
people's like behind the scenes, their process, all of that. So, like Regina said, it's when we're talking about visibility, yes, it's about the willingness to be seen. And that is a whole host of fears and internal narratives. Like you might have gotten feedback of, oh, who do they think they are doing X, Y, or Z? And then you internalize it. And so you shut down, you hide, you get small, and you're afraid to be seen because you're afraid that someone will say something similar about you. We internalize so many things that we hear around ourselves, and then it puts us in a corner and makes us feel like, who are we to show up?
Well,
But we are just listening to the wrong voices.
right.
And we need to shift. We have to shift that focus to be on the people that are so excited to see us win, that are so excited to see us move forward, that are so excited to see us create,
And
that
remember
are so
that
excited.
changes.
Yes.
Every time you show up to be visible.
Yes.
And remember, right, when you're playing small, it's like there's this cycle. When you play small, and you doubt yourself, or you have those thoughts of like, who am I to show up? What do I even have to say? When you have those thoughts, yet you want to grow your business. So there's this desire to grow and expand, but then you hide. How is it? It's contradictory to actually growth, which is like this, right? And then when you hide, you're like this. So you can't have both. You can't hide and also want expansion and growth. We have to, through different variables, whatever that is. If you want to show your face, show your face. If you don't, but you still have to show up in some way. You cannot hide and still want growth. You have to show up and be vulnerable, be real, be authentic, show your processes, show your quirks, show your humor, show off your favorite pajamas. I don't care if you wear Pokemon. It's great. I don't personally know Pokemon, but there are plenty of my kids love anime. Like, show it off. We love your quirks.
The quirks are just like I was mentioning before, is like the community building, is that your quirks may be the very thing that like is
Pulls
magnetic
Yeah.
to a certain crew of people that you've been waiting for.
And that's the quirks. Would you have ever thought that your Pokemon wearing slippers are the ones that bring the community that pay you to be an artist? Your visibility, your quirks, your sharing, your insights, your advice, you're teaching, you're mentoring, whatever. You're weird, like I've got to sit 4 places in a day just to make something. That's what's going to make you money. It's going to be a part of the process of building a community, being visible, and making you fucking money. So show up. Like,
Yes.
seriously, make a post like today, send an email today, create the thing, share it today, and then tomorrow, and then the next day, and maybe even like 3 times a day. Because we want to see you show up. We want to see your thing. We want to see your quirks. And by doing that, you're building a community that's going to have your back every time that you create something that is for sale or is showing up in the world to inspire or teach or whatever your thing is. By creating the community and the visibility, you create like these homies that got your back,
crew.
your crew, your creative crew, your fan club, your book club, your whatever club. You've got your fans, and then those fans talk about you,
and they
pull in more like-minded
collectors.
Yeah, they're the like, hey guys, have you seen this? Have
they
you
gather
talked about
your
this?
fellow misfits, your fellow rebels.
Think about the last book that you read that was like so incredible. Did you read it? Did you hear it?
One thing I think that's really important with visibility and what Regina's talking about is community building. You're finding your crew, you're finding your people, one who you want to grow with, but also who are going to want to be consumers of your content and your art. But I think something that's really important to say here is that we're not saying go and get on every social media platform or go and throw yourself at like every, there are so many ways to be visible. You can use social media. And of course, social media has Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, like all the different things.
All the different places.
But I've also seen a lot of people getting big communities on Discord. Like that's a different thing, right? Like there are so many platforms online, social media wise, that you can tap into, but you find the one
that feels
good to you. And instead of trying to be everywhere, choose where you want to be and then just show up there consistently. And the other thing is that there's things beyond social media. Say you're not a social media person, but you love to be in person. And so you start to go to art galleries, or you start to go to film shows, or you start to go to art council meetings, or you start to go to community centers. And then you start your following like in person. That people have thriving careers with no social media presence whatsoever.
Just networking in person.
But they're being visible in person. Same thing with art fairs. There's some craft festivals.
I know down where I am, they're like every weekend. Every weekend there's a festival.
So get familiar with what's available in your area and then get connected there. I am a raging introvert. Like it takes a lot for me to want to go out into the world. So I understand.
It takes more energy,
it takes even energy, yes.
And preparation.
It's
putting on an armor. Ready.
But the thing is that when I do go out and connect with people, it's because I love people. And that is what I lean into. It's because I believe in what I do and I love people. And so I'm willing to step over the discomfort of my social anxieties to be present and be visible and connect in person, because I've learned to cultivate a belief in the power of that connection and that visibility. So if you feel nervous about the word visibility, just try to equate it to connection. And with that connection, see where you want to connect and see how you want to connect and see how you can start to tell bits of your story. For some of you, you may not opt for social media. You may not opt for, in-person things. Maybe you're going to do an email list. Lots of people are hopping on Substack. That can even be a paid email list, but you can also just build your own email list. And you have a weekly email or you have a monthly email. I have known successful entrepreneurs and artists who have either massive social media, no social media, massive email list, no email list, like a great website, no website. I've seen people get amazing articles, features like in publicity, like they do traditional media, they get articles in newspapers, or they pitch themselves to local TV or local radio. And that's where they get their community, their interest, their following, their clients, their patrons. There are so many different ways to get in front of people. Yes, you want to think about like where your people may be. That is something to consider. Where's your audience?
You definitely wouldn't walk into like, I don't know, an art club and try to sell clown shoes.
I mean, maybe they want clown. No,
maybe they want clown shoes.
Maybe they want clown shoes.
But I think find if you're an artist, maybe you want to go to an art club, like a painter, go to an artist guild or the communities.
So like an example that immediately came to mind just now with that is I write young adult novels. I am not going to try to find my young adult readers on Facebook. Right. They're not hanging out over there. But my community that I've built over the past 15 years of friends, family, community that are more like my age, like that are the parents, that are the like librarians, they can be on Facebook. So I share things there, and I do have a lovely community of people that engage with me, but I know where there is not where my young adult readers will be. Right. And so that's something to be mindful of. Where are your people at? and what feels good. Yeah. If you really weigh both of those, then I think you're going to have a great chance of, with consistency, getting where you want to go.
Creating the visibility plan, right? That plan of just showing up. I feel like there's this fear of judgment of being visible that hinders people from actually just doing it in whatever way that feels comfortable for you, but it does require you to actually do it.
Let's say Regina and Rocky are here to say, we want you to be really fucking visible because we believe in you. So anybody that is trying to make you feel bad for it, even if it's like a little voice inside of yourself, we're saying, no, thanks. You're unavailable for that now.
It's called the eject button, and you always have it. Like right here, you're done, and he's out. Right? Like the inner voice that says, you can't do that, you joke. Eject.
Yes.
And gone. He's fallen from the sky somewhere. You don't even need to worry yourself about that, because I can tell you, I want you to just, from your perspective, look at when you go online, are you sitting there critiquing everyone, or are you consuming the content like, oh my God, that's so interesting. Oh my God, I love that. Oh my God. You're looking at content and consuming it, and you're loving their processes, and you're loving the behind the scenes. Never once are you being like, who are they to talk about? Fill in the blank. You know what I'm saying?
But if you are,
then
I want you to hear two things that may not feel good.
Rocky's out.
One is, if you're busy critiquing, you're not busy creating. So get your shit together and move on. Yeah. Because you want to be the thing you want to see in the world. Do you want to see in the world just an onslaught of artists feeling diminished and defeated and shoved aside and not enough? Or do you want to be the person that lifts them up, that sees them, that supports them, that cheers them on, so that when you are in the driver's seat, when you are on the stage, someone's doing the same for you?
Yeah.
So that's one thing, because we've seen it with artists, the comparison, the shaming, the judgment. It is in this community of artists, but we are creating a community here where we're not available for that. So
look, we're both advocates for mental health and for confidence and love and fun and joy. And we want to cultivate more of that. And remember that
that's when this community.
Yeah. For. And remember that when you are busy critiquing and putting down and having an opinion that isn't constructive or helpful, there's a ripple effect that happens when you consistently put someone down. It is imperative that you understand that maybe I need to look at what I'm saying or how I'm approaching, so that when the tables turn on you, you also feel and receive joy and love and encouragement and confidence, because that is how you will move upwards. I feel like anything that is like on the bullying scale or criticism, pulling people down, it is an ugly weight, and we are not here to tie weights to an already heavy world. The world already is heavy and sad, and we are here to cultivate more joy, more connection and creativity. We can rise in that. We can create the visibility, we can create the connection, we can create the creativity by empowering each other, by empowering ourselves.
And some people listening to this may think, but there are things that we do need to critique. There are things that do need to shift. There are things that do need to change. Like, we look at publishing, only 4% of authors are Latino. And I'm one of that. And that needs to change, right? And like, there are things in our industry that do need to change that we can critique.
Absolutely.
But we are critiquing from the problem or the issue or the thing that we need to shine light on, not going at it in a mission to shame.
Right.
We do want to shift the narrative so that way we can have very constructive conversations that lead to growth. And when we do that, then yes, we will see ripple effects. There are things that we have to fight for in this community. Absolutely.
But tearing each other
down is not the answer. And so this is a real part of the visibility game, is that, yes, that we want to be empowering each other. For writer friends that are listening, or for people that have things that are on public platforms for consumption,
which is
you are going to get reviews.
Yeah, every artist I know.
Every artist, right? You're going to get reviews. You're going to get comments. You're going to get things that don't feel awesome.
Yeah.
And most of the time, it's just subjective tastes. And it's understanding that it's okay. It's okay. Some of my favorite artists, some of my favorite writers have collections of awful reviews that people just hate their work. But I'm not one of them. And for me, that creative or that writer or that artist gave me something of value, whether it was like a few hours of joy or a moment of deep self-reflection. It gave me something. So as you're looking into your visibility, really think of, who do you want to connect with? Who do you want to create beside? Who do you want to empower? And know that that has such tremendous value that it should eclipse your fear. We want to see you. You deserve to be seen and you deserve to be celebrated.
100% amen to that.
Thank you for listening to the Artist Rebellion podcast. Remember, be brave,
Stay rebellious, and we'll catch you next week.
Did you see it? Did you whatever? What? It's not a spider, right? It's not a spider. It's not. Is it?
It was a spider.
No, it wasn't.
It was a spider. It's dead now.
Oh, where?
That's okay. I got him. All's good. For those who are listening, if we keep this in the audio, there was a spider just walking on Regina's
I have
head.
chills. Do you see my chills? Do you
Yeah,
see?
there she is.
I'm gonna
Chill.
cry.
I tried to very calmly take it from her hair, but then it took a couple tries to grab it.
Ah, I don't know where I was.
Okay, well, we're gonna cut this probably part and make it a blooper. But you were talking about. Okay.
It's dead, right? It's gone, right? It's dead.
It's
It's not in there, right?
No, it's
There's no guts or legs
no.
left.
It was a tiny little thin one,
okay.
but it's not there anymore.
Okay.
So
What were we talking about?